Okay, I'm Thomas Muse and we're celebrating nature. We're up here in Southampton and we're on our way up to a friend of mine's house. His name is Tom Matthews. He's a carpenter, a very fine carpenter, and a Japanese trained joiner. And he has a beautiful tea house up on his property here. And we're on our way up there. And as we head up there, I just want you to look around because we're in a beautiful, pristine oak and pitch pine forest. We're standing up on the Ronkonkoma moraine, which is a water recharge overlay district for Southampton. I'll explain that a little bit more later on. If you take a look around and you listen to the sounds, this is a beautiful, serene place. And Tom has done a wonderful job. I think he has about 5 acres up here. And he's really done a beautiful job in just leaving a lot of it alone, which is great. If you take a look at the driveway, it's a beautiful approach. You're not seeing a lot of asphalt and a wide shoulder and mowed lawn anywhere. It's a very naturalized, you can barely even feel the road, and the town likes this kind of driveway because it's a pervious driveway. It doesn't create any runoff, allows the water to percolate through the driveway, which is just what really should happen in this type of area, and I'm going to explain that later on. So we're going to head up there. We're going to take a nice stroll through the driveway, through the forest, and head up to Tom and take a look at the tea house. Tea ceremonies and the ritual nature of them are not part of our culture. But what you can appreciate, what we as Americans can appreciate out of a building like this, is how elegantly it sets in the landscape. And what we can learn from it is how, it almost improves on a natural setting because of its scale and the way, the handling of the materials. Instead of dominating a landscape, a building like this just improves it. Now, traditionally, these buildings are built from all natural materials that are often collected on the sites. This wood is actually from Alaska. It's Alaskan cedar. And Tom is Japanese trained joinery. There's no screws or nails in this building. This is all pegged and jointed. All these blocks, the way everything's finished. It's just really a celebration of the natural wood materials. It's left open. They like to see the structure in the building, to see how the building is holding up, how it's supported. And you can see the scale of it. It's very small. It's not supposed to impose upon the landscape. It's supposed to sit naturally in the landscape. We're standing at the roji. No, if Japanese people hear me pronounce that, they will screech, R-O-J-I, and it's a term that's used for a lot of different meanings, but here it's about the way, and the Buddhist way, and the pathway symbolizes a journey to the tea house and a journey to the tea ceremony. If you're invited to someone's house in Japan and you're invited to a tea ceremony, you're invariably going to be walked along a very irregular path. The process of moving yourself along that path involves you leaving behind your worries, your cares, your concerns, leading you to the tea ceremony where you will be with close friends and you will be in a very ritualized, idealized type of social behavior that will take you to another level. It's through that contemplation and that very purposeful walking along this path, and you have to be very purposeful because, as you see, these stones are very irregular, and we're going to take a walk through here and you're going to see you really have to concentrate. But that's intended. You really are supposed to concentrate when you're walking along a path like this. It's very meditative, very purposeful, and very concentrated. Another English term for this type of path is the mossy way. And as you can see, they've really done a beautiful job here because there's a lot of moss on the ground. And you can see there's just some collected and found objects in the woods, some old wood stumps and a few trees, not a lot of plantings, just a very naturalized setting. Water is a key element of the tea house garden. In Japan, you might find water flowing from a groundwater source or a well area. That's where the tea master would be collecting the water for the tea ceremony. In a very naturalized setting with natural stones, the tea water is collected and it's all part of the process. Tea ceremonies were formalized in Japan in the 13th century. The tea plant Tia sinensis, was an evergreen shrub found in China. And the monks, actually, the Chinese monks, and then it was brought to the Japanese monks, would use it to stay alert during their long periods of meditation. So they actually designed a brewing technology around collecting that evergreen plant, and that has spread, as you know, all around the world. What we're standing on is, I think it's five or more acres of prime real estate in Southampton. Tom has pretty much built himself a small house out of natural materials, and he's left the landscape to be native, and he's created himself a beautiful, serene environment for him and his family to live in. I think in contrast to some of the development that's happening out here, and in respect to what people are looking for when they come out to the East End, when they buy a home and they want to spend the summers out here or come on the weekends, they're really looking for some spiritual rejuvenation, for relaxation, for some serenity. And I would like for them to be able to see some alternatives to some of the style of construction that's going on out there, where there's tennis courts and lawns, and everybody's got to have a giant pool and tons of acres of lawn. I mean, if you look around here and you see the pristine forest and you see the style of construction with natural materials, it's really refreshing, it's very serene, very rejuvenating, and I think you can see it works very effectively. So when I said we were up on the terminal moraine, I'll just give you a little picture of what that looks like. We have the North and South Forks. We have the North Fork of Long Island and the South Fork of Long Island. The terminal moraine is the high ridge area. It runs all the way out to Montauk. It's separated in a couple of spots along the Nat Peak stretch, but it runs all the way out there. And this is where we are. If we're in Southampton in this area, we're up we're I don't know, probably 200 feet above sea level at this point, up on this terminal moraine. If we do a cross section of Long Island, we have the outwash plains like Bridgehampton, and if this is being the ocean, then the moraine. It's called the Ronkonkoma Moraine, and then it comes back down, and this would be, if this was Bridgehampton, this would be the bays in Sag Harbor. Right now we're in Southampton, and we're very high on the ridge. We're about 200 feet above sea level. What's significant about this is that this area is what the town has called the water recharge area. This is where the groundwater is recharging the aquifer that's underneath, the lens of water that sits underneath Long Island. This area is very efficient at recharging this underground water source. And Tom's done a beautiful job here in not developing his 5 acres. Well, he's developed it, he's put a house, but he's done minimal impact to the site with no lawn, no major landscaping efforts. And that has allowed a very high quality of recharge in this area, and I'm real proud of him because that's a good thing.